I experienced the Chinese Civil War, Mao Zedong, Chiang Kai-shek, brutal. And then I experienced all 3 years of the Korean conflict. I saw enough people dying of starvation, disease, but much more importantly, because of the war. It was very brutal scenes I've seen when I was a little boy. That made me obsessively interested in peace and peacemaking. Why we're fighting and killing each other, still we don't know. But this Korea is a special place. How many of you have been to Korea? You will agree with me. It's a very beautiful, almost ideal piece of land. North Korea is prettier now because it's almost uninterrupted by development industrialization. But as pretty as the country, the situation, human, political, social situation, is very ugly, very messy. So yes, on one hand we have North Korea. They just finished the 4th nuclear test. A country barely surviving, tested on 4 occasions nuclear devices. And unlike a few years back, North Korea is somewhat better economically. They don't have mass starvations and people dying of hunger anymore. But they need food and they are very poor. Look at South Korea, one of the most advanced countries outside of Europe and North America. In the world, when you have North and South Korea, the 2 different systems, think about the journey of Korea in history. In the history, right after the Japanese occupation of Korea for some 40 years, that colonialism by Japan was so miserable. I can remember just all names were taken up by Japanese, and we were given Japanese names, had no identity, very difficult times. And after that, of course, we had Second World War. The Second World War was basically an international war between 2 rising hegemonic forces, the Soviet Union and the United States. There, Korea got divided right in the middle. So with the big powers' intervention, the country helplessly broken into half. North Korea has been occupied by the Soviets and the communists, always trying to expand the influence in the world, and completely dominated North Korea. Whereas South Korea, the other arch rival of the Soviet Union, the United States, has occupied South Korea for as long as its existence, since 1948. Now, we just finished the Cold War. For decades of Cold War, North and South Korea represented the 2 sides of the Cold War itself. So the 2 Koreas have experienced unwillingly, undesirably, entirely different life conditions. So if you travel North Korea and South Korea, they're not like they were. They were one country, one nation, one people. In fact, sociologists all over the world, in many different publications, they rank countries by ethnic homogeneity. Always, North Korea is number 1. South Korea is number 2. But the two are very close, almost entirely homogeneous, 100% ethnicity. If you plus one North Korea plus South Korea, that's 1, 2. So very homogeneous, one language, one heritage. That kind of country is divided and maintained such division for decades. As a result, we have seen now the development of two entirely different systems, different ways of life. If we travel North Korea and South Korea, like I've done many, many times, since 1981, I've visited North Korea more than 50 times. Last 20, 30 years, I visited that country without failing any year, so many times. I know North Korea quite well. I have many friends there. And South Korea. I came from there as a foreign student exactly 50 years ago. When I landed here, we got married. In fact, this is the 50th anniversary, and my companion is sitting right there. It's not short time, 50 years. And I came to this deep South in 1970 to join the faculty of the University of Georgia. I've just retired, maybe exactly 2 weeks ago, retired, after having taught for 45 years.
Wow.
That's a pretty long period of time. I made that commitment to teach here. In fact, I have become a Southern American. And I value Southern culture quite well. I kind of felt that I'm at home. When I came, Winnie and I, my wife, together from Minnesota, and drove the car with full of junk in the car, with a baby sitting in between in 1970. And we were crossing the Appalachian Mountains, maybe 441 or something, and we ran out of gas. So stopped by a local store. We didn't have a self-serve service at all. So we went to pulled over the local gas station. And then I rolled down my window and I said, please fill it up. And the gas was 23 cents. And then in just a couple minutes, this guy came back and he kicked my tire and very angrily said, "We don't serve damn Yankees." The tag was Minnesota State. Out of desperation, I rolled down the window. I had all lights on, and then I looked out and I said, "Do I look like a Yankee?" I'm just a poor, miserable foreigner. I need your gas. And he profusely apologized. And the served, I guess, I don't know if he charged the money or not. It was so interesting. So I saw Southern culture right there. They move by principles, some doctrines or principles that I respect. But at the same time, they can say, I'm sorry. You know, in these United States, especially in Washington, people don't know how to say, I'm sorry. That is really problem. That kind of stubborn egocentrism is quite prevalent in the United States. But down here, Southern hospitality was really great. So after that gas, Appalachian Mountains, we drove into Athens, Georgia. And I had a house that I rented long distance, and I was trying to find that house. I could not. So I pulled off. I think the McDonald's is still here in Athens. And I saw a couple of motorcycle cops having their hamburgers or something. And I approached them. You know, I'm a newcomer here, and I'm joining the university here. But this night, I cannot find this address. These two policemen, they hurriedly finished up their hamburgers. And then they escorted me, my junky car, to that address. So, this is Southern hospitality. Not just the gas, but police escorting me. And I've never been disappointed by my friends or strangers in the South. We have real good people here. Here people value people more than value money. So we may be behind in terms of scientific development, economic development, in comparison with the California and northeastern of the United States. But I think we have something to be proud of in the South. We have people with hearts, people with compassion. So that's where we started life here. And you can invite me again. Time is running out already. So North and South Korea, the two are very different, much different than Southern United States and the rest of the country. The two countries in Korea are like the utter end of the world. I went to North Korea because there was, in my opinion, command from God. You've got to go to the strange land. It may be the end of the world. It may be dangerous, but you've got to go there. North Korea is different from South Korea in three important areas. One, North Korea is very, very collective. There's no individualism. Everything is determined by the party and community as a whole. Whereas South Korea is extremely individualistic with an entrepreneurial culture, very individualistic. That's one. But North Korea collectivism, unless you understand that, you don't understand North Korea. Second, North and South Korea is different. North Korea is a spiritual determinism, whereas South Korea is economic, material determinism. Because of economic development, prosperity, in South Korea, money talks. In North Korea, money is irrelevant. No one has money. If you had money, if I went there, say, with a lot of money and gave to my friends there. The next day they will be all imprisoned. So having money is a liability in North Korea. You don't need money. You need protection of the party by the government. That's all you need. Money cannot buy anything, unlike South Korea. South Korea's the might of money is such that I coined a new term, moneytocracy. Money talks. So from democracy, now on the verge of having a new ideology called the money talks. So the two are different. South Korea is very materialistic, and in fact, very advanced material-wise. Whereas North Korea is different. They have nothing to show off in terms of material accomplishment. And then you have, so individualism, collectivism, and secondly, the money versus spirit. Thirdly, nationalism. It's an extension of collectivism, but North Korea is nationalistic and South Korea is internationalist. If you go to South Korea, it's like almost anywhere in the world, very advanced urban metropolitan areas. You'll see all kinds of shopping centers. North Korea is everything is nationalistic. That's the way they have a cohesive country, and country united by the theme of nationalism. So Kim Jong-un, this young fellow, is living on nationalism. I mean, that's a whole another chapter. I don't think he's doing right. You cannot starve people in order to make yourself militarily strong. So these are three different areas, but there is one common area, and that is militarism. Both countries are highly militaristic in terms of weaponry, in terms of training, their worldviews. Militarism culturally is dichotomous views, enemies or us. You're either with them or with us. No middle ground. That's a military culture. That's what you see in North Korea as well as in South Korea. South Korea is buying American weapons in large quantities. In fact, some 5 years ago, South Korea surpassed Israel, and everyone else became the most purchaser of American weapons. So that's very dangerous. They are, not only do we have a military industrial complex in the United States, other countries too, dealing with us, the military industrial complex. Military industrial complex always prone to corrupt. It's corrupted because capitalism doesn't work there. Always weapons are produced with public money, tax money. So you don't have to calculate into cost and benefit. Your weapons are free. You work with your congressman, military industrial complex establishment. So capitalism will die out there. So South Korean capitalism, American capitalism, is a defined, actually, competition of ideal capitalism. In any case, we have strong militarism, military culture, military economy, military politics. So we have to do something about that. As long as we are reliant on the military, we are not going to have peace. We have security, yes, But I like to emphasize, as a scholar, security and peace are diametrically opposed. In order to work for security, you've got to undermine everything that is needed for peace. Peace is the accommodation of differences, creation of oneness out of diversity with diversity. If you have homogeneity, uniformity, you cannot have peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict, as I declared in my TED talk, is not the absence of conflict. The absence of conflict is fine, but it's not peace. Peace is harmony. That's what peace is. Harmony is the creation of oneness out of diversity, as we see in orchestra music, choir music, different pieces of instruments or voices, they work together. They harmonize. Harmony is oneness, so soothing, so peaceful. If human body is harmonious, you have a very healthy body. If human mind is harmonious, you have a very sound person. If a community is harmonious, you have a very ideal community. If a country is harmonious, that's the way we should be. Harmony requires the presence of diversity, artful management of that diversity. That's what harmony is. So if we have a domination, militarism, uniformity, one race domination, that's not peace. So in the final analysis, the fact that North Korea and South Korea are different may appear to be bad news, but if you think about it, it's not that bad. If differences are great, peace, potential peace, also is great. North and South Korea, once they develop harmonious relationship, the two relationships will be very, very peaceful. Now, dialectical synthesis is needed. One is thesis, the other is antithesis in philosophical logic. And then peace is the synthesis. So peace cannot come out of the domination by thesis or domination by the antithesis. You've got to have a synthesis. That's what qualitatively different artwork, that's the creation of harmony. So the fact that we have a diverse culture, there's no campus in the world. I've done a lot of different countries. In America, you stand in front of a student body, you are looking at the world. Georgia State, you go there, and I taught a course there not too long ago. You are looking at the universe, the global community. America is very diverse. American strength should be our ability to accommodate differences and live with the diverse origins of ideologies, origins of ethnicities, and so on. That's what makes America great. It's not just because we are militarily strong, economically well off. It's nice to have those at times, but it is the people diversity, the institutional diversity, cultural diversity that will make America unique and uniquely great. So I think we have to show the world that this is America by showing them that we can work with our enemies, uncomfortable people, even talk to Iranians, talk to North Koreans. I can tell you that this North Korean nuclearization, I've been invited all over the world, but I decided to accept invitation. I've been saying that a North Korean crisis, nuclear crisis, there's no military solution, period. Nor will there be an economic solution. You cannot buy off their sovereignty, anyone's sovereignty. So we talk about carrots and sticks. It will not work. We have tried both for decades. Will not work. They just had a fourth nuclear test. The only solution is political solution. Political solution is dialogue, discussion, dialogue, negotiation, communication with them. What is communication? Communication is not just talking. It is the exchange of values, beliefs, norms, convictions, principles. That's what communication is. When we have differences, we need to have a communication. We need to communicate with North Koreans, with Iranians, all the Middle East complications. It's partly because they blocked, Nowadays, this ISIS, think about it, and ISIS perception of America. We have a mutual demonization. As a Christian, I'm convinced that we have to love our enemies. But I'm not quite sure if we're doing the right, if we demonize one another, and try to execute our devils, demons. I don't know. This is a great church, but I like to see only God will have the wisdom and authority to define some of us devils, others are not so. We shouldn't do ourselves human beings in the society. So even if North Korea has been North Korea, whenever I go, I try to communicate with them, talk about the weather, their children, our common aspirations and miseries in our existence. And then we don't agree still with each other, but we increase our level of compassion and level of empathy and mutual understanding. That's what we need. We don't need agreement. Whenever I go to North Korea, they try to persuade me with their doctrines. I said, no, I don't agree with you. You have 23 million people that agree with you all the time. You don't need another person. But I can understand why and where you are coming from. So this Korean situation is very difficult to alleviate. But if we shift our emphasis from security and domination to peace and accommodation, then there is a solution. So it may be difficult to expect from Washington, but I think I have, I just retired. I have a very strange feeling that the world will change very rapidly. Why? Public opinion changes. People change. Public opinion matters far more than guns and bread, butter. People's opinion, people's mind, it should be that way. I think we're rediscovering the value of people. That's what democratization is all about. It's not election that is democracy. Making people the master of the political system, that is democracy. And I think we're moving, our democracy is becoming more mature because of our people becomes more central in the system. So with that, I can drag on, but I like to entertain any question at all.
Well, thank you so much.
Sure.